Man, I used to say I'm not into hockey because I'm not into violence, right? Violence is a sign of being a devolved animal, right? Especially when it's not for survival or for eating. Like, I don't think the hockey players eat themselves, but then this is coming out here. And I think that other things that maybe might attract the hockey culture is a little bit of homosexuality and also misogyny, if I'm pronouncing that. It's the first time I'm using that word. I think I'm getting it correctly. Because you can see it's either you are repressing your little homosexuality and you're kind of being aggressive with women, or I don't know, but I mean, it's not for me. Prime Minister Carney is, a lot of Canadians are dissociating themselves from Wayne Gretzky. You might want to start dissociating yourself, not from the concept of homosexuality, which is okay if it's respectful. The homosexuals that I've known have not been respectful, so that's why I kind of... But it's not related specifically, directly to their homosexuality. Indirectly, yes, right? When you're in the closet that long and you sometimes come out of the closet, you kind of have to start learning boundaries that you've never learned before, for example. So yes, I was a victim of their lack of boundaries. But that doesn't mean I will judge every one of them, but in that way, right, homosexuals. But I have not yet met one or one that attempted friendship with me that wasn't trying to impose their homosexuality onto me. And that's a zero part of my identity, so I guess I can't, come any closer to hockey, which is not even Canada's national sport anyways. I have to get even further from it. But this is interesting what's going on. Carney, one thing I wanted to say as well is, you're talking in your speech, and I'm not going to comment on your speech until I listen to the whole thing, and I haven't done that yet, but in your speech you talk about all this division. But the thing is you partake in capitalist economics, so it creates division. So that's part of your hypocrisy, right? You have to say, there should only be win-win scenarios, and if it's discovered later in an agreement that one party benefited more, then re-establish a balance, and that at least is a way to get away from your, flawed cultural evolutionary dead-end ideology of economics, right? Also, all the problems of the world today, if you listen to my little lecture on having an ecocentric worldview, which is the opposite of egocentric, but also there's a lot of different worldviews on that spectrum of worldviews, is a lot of the problems of the world, not just from Trump, but other political or business world leaders. The problems are caused from not having a secular ecocentric worldview. So the concept of ownership is magical. Assets, money, currency, that's all magical. And it leads to those getting more power than others, abusing others, and that's never going to go away in economics or the concept of ownership or borders or things like that. So you don't have to kind of have people think you're crazy by saying we are currently working on getting away from the concept of borders or establishing a real democracy in Canada. You're just going to blow people's mind. They're going to think you're insane. But you could once in a while say, historically speaking, if you talk to sociologists, if you can find any, I'd be surprised, who ran scenarios about what the world would be like, the anthropocentric world, if we all had ideologies that related to the natural world and that the health of the biosphere came first, way before us, and none of us were more important or powerful in significant ways than others. I mean, it could be tiny little ways sometimes, which is genetics, or it's an effort or opportunities people make to develop more human thinking tools, for example, might give them a little bit of an edge. But those people, again, should try to rebalance by coaching and teaching others. And again, I try to do that all the time on a volunteer basis, and I can't even find people who want to improve their human thinking tools for free. And it's almost sometimes like, because I'm not a super famous guy who charges a lot of money for my time, is sometimes what makes people not address their own personal development. And again, that shows tipping points have passed for our species to self-correct.